Welcome back to another episode of Rapid Results with Andrew Weiss. We have the wonderful Joe Pici here today, and he is very excited to come on and talk to us about dominating at sales, dominating at growing your business and scaling it. And in case you don't know who this Joe Pici guy is, he has been ranked #1 in the world as a sales trainer and speaker. His Rapport Mastery and Sales Training Program is ranked #1 for the past 4 years by global gurus. And he's here today to talk about how you can grow your business with sales. So, Joe, tell us though, what is the biggest and best business deal you're most proud of?
Well, I don't know if I'm so proud of it is because, I make a lot of calls. I do all our selling besides our training. But I guess the longest lasting deal we have was about 16 years ago. I cold called a company in Tampa. It was a cold call. A lot of my calls are cold into the B2B market. And that wound up being now a 16-year client that has taken us throughout the country, many different verticals in that corporate setting. So that was a call on a Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock, and the owner answered the phone, and it's a gift that has kept giving.
Oh my gosh. So that's definitely pretty good. Just making a cold call and then having a client for 16 years running and having them pay for you to travel throughout the country and train their sales team. That's incredible. So tell us, how did you get into this space? How'd you wake up one day and you go, you know what? I'm going to figure out how to be good at cold calls and make it my business, one of my business models. How'd you get into that?
Well, the way I got into it, we were massively in medical debt. I was a football coach, decided I'd go into a part-time direct sales business with no background. Nobody taught us how to sell. And I realized two things very succinctly. Okay. The key to sales was your messaging, getting in front of decision makers, and calling the right people. And that's many years ago. Over the course of years, our business has moved really into a direction where we realize the most important things for all companies is to call the right people at the right time and get in front of the right people with the right message. And there is business. So we got there kind of on an accident, but we kept perfecting, perfecting, perfecting. And I don't believe anyone should take sales training from a person who doesn't sell or haven't sold, because it's only when you have boots on the ground that you understand messaging.
Oh, 100%. So you're in medical debt. You're trying out this thing called sales. You're like, okay, I got to get in front of the right people. I got to figure out the right message. What was that first deal that you closed, or you figured out, hey, maybe I am good at sales. Maybe I do know what I'm talking about. What did that look like for
Well,
you?
a turning point was when I made 56 cold calls and got 56 no's.
Oh,
And I broke the
jeez.
phone. Now, this is before cell phones. This is the old fashioned phone. And I looked at my wife and I said, either I better get good at this or we need to go find something else to do.
Hmm.
I said, I don't know what to say and I don't know who to call. That embarked us on really focusing on, instead of everything about sales, breaking it down into a process and breaking it down to steps and realizing we needed to master certain aspects and steps of sales. Over the course of time, we started understanding the value of scripting. I
Mm.
know a lot of people think scripting, that I don't want my people scripting. The best actors in the world are Italian: De Niro, Pacino, and they're all scripted. But when
Yep.
you
Yep.
really scripted well and you know your script, now you can adjust on the run and you also have mastery over it. And you're not thinking about what am I going to say. So we realized we needed to have a script to navigate the gatekeeper in the B2B market, how to get return phone calls, how to get to decision makers, how to set up qualified appointments. That's where we started. And all of a sudden, the world began to open up to us.
So tell us an example. How'd you figure out that script, first of all? I mean, there's a million scripts out there. There's a million ways to call people. Well, and I guess as inspiration too. So you went from 100% no's, and if you don't mind sharing, what does your close rate look like now? If you were to make 100 cold calls, how many could you close?
Not that I don't want to answer the question. I do want to answer the question, but that's not the right question. The right question is, what happens when somebody picks up the phone?
Mm,
What happens there? You see, I'm going to give your people a mind shift here, a paradigm shift. Why don't people like, because I don't just make cold calls, it's warm, cold, and hot. But why don't people like the phone? Because they can't control what's on the other end of the phone. All right. and they think they're supposed to book appointment or sell something.
Hmm.
The turning point for me is when I realize a great script qualifies the other person on whether or not they qualify for my time.
Hmm.
Therefore, I don't want to talk to everybody. So therefore, if I open up, if I called you up, I'm going to give you a secret sauce here. All right.
All
If
right.
I called you up and I said, "Hey, Andrew, this is Joe Pici of Pici and Pici. Did I catch you at a bad time?"
No, I got a few minutes, I suppose.
Fantastic. I saw on LinkedIn where you do some consulting and training. Let me tell you what I do. I specialize in helping speakers, coaches, trainers, and consultants make money with their talent and intellectual property. Now, say I'm not interested.
I'm not interested. Thank you, though.
Next.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not rude, but if a
Interesting.
person says no to my value proposition, I don't want to talk to them because I don't want to talk people into something only for them to change their mind.
Interesting. Okay.
Therefore, my closing ratios, once they want a meeting, go way up because it's their idea. I just gave you a secret sauce.
You're saving a lot of people a lot of time with that secret sauce too.
But most people won't do it
Mhm.
because most people will quit after the 10th no.
Mm.
In
Mhm.
our Rapport Mastery Sales Training Boot Camp, one of the hallmarks is on day 3, everybody who comes, we limit it to 24 people. We make all outbound calls. I don't believe in role play. And they'll go from entry level up to 37 years experience. There'll be 18 to 20 different industries. There'll be 100 different target markets. We'll make 400 to 500 calls in an hour and a half. We have never done less than 75% conversion to appointment. We navigate 92% of the gatekeepers. We'll get 50 to 60 same day return phone calls. And some of those calls will actually go to what we call a sales meeting or core story, and we'll close business because that is a focal point.
Wow. That's very efficient and as someone who's seen the movie Wolf of Wall Street, turning all these people into turning all the no's into yeses and like, oh, maybe I got to talk to the wife, blah blah blah. So tell us how you navigate that.
I do not handle objections in a phone call
Hmm.
during the actual meeting, but I don't talk anyone into a meeting. I don't care what the Wolf of Wall Street did. I don't care what some of the greatest sales trainers, coaches, and speakers from big stages do. That is for the A-type personality. 10% of the world has an A-type personality. Our methodology works for all behaviors. I have to protect the salespeople as much as the person you're dealing with. Therefore, we set them up with a rejection-proof scripting model whereby they don't have to feel like they have to talk somebody into a meeting. If a person doesn't want to know what you can do for them, be polite, they remain a good prospect, and move on.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And when people say they're not interested, do you say, okay, thank you for your time? Or do you say, do you know anyone who would be?
Say that again. I apologize.
If you're talking to someone on the phone, you say, hey, I help speakers and trainers make more money. And they say, I'm not interested. Do you then say, well, do you know anyone who would be? Or do you just say, thank you for your time and then hang up?
Nope. I say, I'll tell you what, I'll check back with you in 3 to 6 months. Because look, I won't refer anybody I don't use.
Hmm.
Why would
Yeah.
I waste it? And they do this all the time. Oh, if a person says no, get a referral. Please. Who do you think they're going to give you? You think they're going to give you their A list? So now you
Interesting.
go mining through the wilderness of now I've had people say, Joe, this is not a good time, but I've got a good friend really that just opened up a business and their people are struggling to book appointments. That's a different answer.
Yeah. Mhm.
Joe, at this point, I'm not. But I'm not interested means no, which means I'm not going to give you my A list. And I
So
don't want somebody's C list.
yeah, that makes sense. And so why follow up in 3 to 6 months then if you know?
Things change, people change, situations change. We're living in an environment where some of the major corporations today are laying off 30% of their workforce. We're looking at management changing every week. You could be talking to somebody different in 2 months than you were just talking to. It took me 10 years to get Caldwell Banker. It took me 10 years to get Blue Cross. I didn't hammer them. I never threw them away. I continued to follow up. 92% of sales professionals never follow up after the first no answer or no.
Wow. So you have quite the CRM going then. How do you maintain all these contacts in these CRMs? Is there a specific tool that you use, and how do you stay on track and stay consistent with that tool?
Well, because I do the selling as well as the training and coaching, my office is nothing but whiteboards. Yes, we do have a good CRM. I don't live off my CRM. I
All
have
whiteboards.
leads on a
Wow.
whiteboard, core stories when, in other words, when that thing goes to an appointment, then when it goes to a proposal is, Andrew, would you like me to send you a formal proposal? Well, no, I don't send it. I
Hmm.
don't say, let me send you a proposal. Would you like to? The minute I send a proposal, it goes on my most important whiteboard. The minute it closes, it gets circled. So between January of this year and the end of June, 6 months, I got 211 formal proposals out. Do you really think I care who writes me a check?
With 200 proposals, yeah, even if you're at a 10% close rate, that's
Right.
pretty good.
So therefore, in the month of July, we just finished July, I got 31 proposals out.
Hmm.
Now, people say you don't understand how busy I am. Hold it. Wait a minute. I do the lead generation, the selling, the proposal writing, the contracting, and then I do the training, coaching, and speaking. Now, but I don't surf the web. I don't make comments about other people's posts. I keep the main thing. One of the biggest things I'm doing coaching with now with individuals and companies is priority and time management, keeping the main thing the main thing.
Jeez. So yeah, how do you create free time? It sounds like you're working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I mean,
Well, actually, to be honest with you, I'm not. I used to,
hmm.
but we have everything we do is systemized and efficient. And I believe in time blocking. From this time to this time, I make calls. From this time to this time, I'm proactive, I'm not reactive. Where people get in trouble, I'm coaching a guy from Chicago, and we're in the process of teaching him serious discipline on his time. He's a hardworking guy. But what we figured out was 4 hours of the day he was on the internet looking at stuff, like looking at LinkedIn, not using it for lead generation. 90% of our business is coming from LinkedIn.
Wow, 97%. Dang. Hmm.
90, I'm sorry, 90.
Oh,
So
90. Yeah.
so now what I have him is he's allowed to play on social media 3 times a day for 15 minutes. That's it. He told me because we're getting ready for another coaching. He said he's got more done last week than he got in 6 months.
Wow.
So it's really about managing your priorities in time. It's not how hard you work, it's what you work on.
Yeah, it's what you get done. Everyone has the same 24 hours in a day, and so how are you using it? And so are you working 8, 10 hours a day, or you just have a very focused, like 4 hours for calls, 2 hours for training, 2 hours for speaking? How are you currently managing your days?
I get up early and I work till I'm done. However, I have a family. I have a wife that we've been together 52 years.
52 years. Oh my
She's had
gosh.
some health challenges, which has
Mm.
really made me more efficient
Mhm.
because I get to get more done in less time.
Mhm.
However, when COVID hit, the first year where a lot of our competitors really were hurt, we grew 20%. Second year
Wow.
COVID, 38%. We've grown since, not because I'm famous, not because I'm good looking, not because I'm, whatever, not about talent. It's that we have a solid process that we believe is built for bad and good economies.
Wow, that is good to know because I know, all the news is always talking about recession here, inflation here, and just like how much our dollar's going down and prices are going up and people are being laid off. And so knowing that you're able to be in a job and a skill set of sales that is recession proof is one of the most valuable things you can have. That's definitely impressive. And so I was curious. So when it comes to sales and doing all that, what's like some of another recent win that a client had that you're proud of? You're able to help coach a client and getting a successful win.
I would say, you know, we have never failed to help people grow. Okay. Here's the thing. People don't say no to me because of the price. People will say no to me because maybe they're not willing to up the game a little bit. That's all.
Interesting.
All right. So, for example, one of the deals that happened 2 boot camps ago, we had 24 people in the room. 6 of them happened to be in the healthcare industry. One of those people were calling doctors' offices and associations, right, for a new protocol. And I'm not at liberty to explain the actual protocol
Yeah.
because I had to sign an NDA.
Yeah.
One of his calls, he hit an association, booked the appointment, was actually able to do the meeting a week later, and it generated $10 million from that one call.
No.
Yes.
Gosh.
And you know what he said? He said, up until this time, I sent that organization 52 emails, never got a response.
Jeez. So, so what I'm hearing though is it's not possible to be this successful if you're not willing to make phone calls. The way you teach, I hear you. But where someone's like, you know what, Joe, my voice sucks. It's groggy. I can't speak to anyone ever. I hate my social skills, but I really want to be good at emails or blogs or something like that. Could they still be successful? You're like, nope, sorry, you have to learn how to be
No.
good on the phone
I
call.
never tell anybody their methodology doesn't work at all.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting.
Look, do you know how many people out there are making a ton of money that don't even pick up the phone? I'm not saying my way is the only way. What I'm saying is this. What I'm seeing in the B2B market, because of cybersecurity, so many companies are being told, do not let your people open up unsolicited emails because that's where you're going to get hacked. So now all of a sudden, cold email effectiveness isn't what it once was. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Hmm.
I'm also saying that social media blogging and video, it's all good as long as the person opens it up.
Yeah.
I think you have to have multiple contact points with clients. I mean, I sent you a video through LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, you
Now,
did.
it wasn't my initial outreach, but it was a way of continue our relationship. I think you have to have, I don't believe in talent and charisma. I believe processes, skills, messaging, and communications. You can teach those things. I think multifaceted approaches. But I believe if you're going to be very successful in sales, one of the things that is important is that you master the phone. It's not the only thing, but mastering the phone is the shortest distance between 2 points. I've read all the books that say never call on Monday, never call Friday. The best time to call is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday between 10 and 2. I've read all those books. Well, my highest amount of time to book appointments are Monday morning between 7 and noon. I've closed more contracts between 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock on a Friday. Those are my 2 hottest times. But that doesn't mean I'm not working the rest of the week. You understand? I mean, when we get done with this podcast, I've got calls I have to make because
Yeah.
I have another call block.
Hmm.
So, no, I don't put down anyone else's methodology. I know some very successful people that do things differently than me.
And I love what you said originally too, like how when you call people, you're good at making your initial offer, say, "Hey, I'm Joe. I do this, this, and this." And it sounds like a lot of people freak out about, do I target B2C? Do I target B2B? Who's my avatar and all that? It sounds like that doesn't affect you or bother you. Like you're confident in being able to help anyone with sales.
Well, here, 2 weeks ago, I was a follow-up call. I had made my initial call, navigated the gatekeeper, got to the owner of the company. We were on a follow-up call, and he goes, Joe, before you called me the first time, did you do any research on our company? I said, nope. He goes, why not? I said, you didn't qualify yet. If you would have said no, why would it have taken 2 hours to figure out your company?
Yeah. Hmm.
I know what I do. I know what I do well. I know what I offer that can benefit you. If you don't want those things, why would I waste your time or mine? You know what he said? Send me the contract. I need you to teach this to my people. They spend all day long researching and very little time selling.
Hmm. Interesting. It's so just double checking, like you don't care if you're helping a one person business who's doing coaching for people versus a multi-million dollar corporation like Blue Cross. You know that you can help anyone in between, essentially.
That's a great question because our business model is diverse in nature. In other words, we have 10 ways that we can work with clients.
Oh,
So
oh,
therefore,
interesting.
we do have our boot camps. I've got a 3-day sales boot camp. That's the Rapport Mastery, the one that's ranked #1. I got a 3-day boot camp for the business of speaking, training, and coaching of 2 verticals. But I also do private coaching, and which is one-on-one coaching. I do business consulting, which is company consulting. That's 2
Mm,
more ways, right? I do virtual coaching. All right. I do communications. There's a lot of things we can offer people, but I know which ones make us the most money. And it's not based on size of company, it's based on size of wallet. I had a lady from Alaska who flew all the way from Alaska for a couple days of private coaching in my studio, and paid me $25,000.
oh
She
my
could have
gosh.
gone to our sales boot camp for 2,495. She wanted the one-on-one coaching. She didn't want to wait. It was her choice.
Hmm.
You understand? Now, I'm not
Yes.
saying I always make 25,000 in 3 days with a one-on-one, but it was there. So I don't have prices anywhere on our website because everything, okay, is based on what you can do, what you can afford, how you want to work with us. So people decide how they want to work with us.
I like that. And how worried do you get about ROI for clients? Like, so for example, if when the woman came in and spent 25 grand for 3 days of coaching with you, like, were you able to get that ROI within those 3 days? Did it take a few months?
Well, you asked my favorite questions.
Okay.
It's like I sent you this question. That's why the only sales training I will do is with the live outbound calls because I know we'll score. And it's the only quantifiable thing you can do in a training segment that when they get real appointments, they've gotten their ROI.
Mm, mhm.
But if we sat in that room and did a role play, they don't know. Now they got to go home by themselves. I want to be in the room. I want to be coaching them when they're making those calls so I can help them adjust on the run.
Yeah. Mhm.
And now what we're doing too, what we're coaching and training, we're teaching them how to do the virtual core story or sales meeting. So therefore, the person might say, I have some time right now. And we move right into our sequence of our selling meeting. And a lot of times we close business right now. And we're not a one-call close training company. We believe
Mhm.
in consultative sales because 85% of sales happens between the 8th and the 15th contact.
Oh, interesting. 8 to 15 contacts to close usually.
Mhm.
Wow. Uh, so, and I want to back up a little bit too about the topic of sales in general. I mean, obviously, I'm growing to learn, appreciate sales more and more, and appreciate the value for it and the need for it, and just like how much it applies to every part of our life. I recently got married, and like being able to convince your wife to enjoy a nice dinner that you want to have, being able to convince some friends to get together. Sales applies to every part of our life. But the problem is that most people, when they hear the word sales, they shiver and kind of wince back and go, "Oh no!" So how do you help people get comfortable with the word sales, in general?
Sales is really providing, okay, solutions, benefits, and results. It's not about your widget. It's not about self-serving. I have never had to return a dime. I've been doing this a long time. I have no remorse buyers
Mm,
because everything I do is based on the client. We teach what's in it for them. Okay. What's in it for them? All of a sudden, instead of feeling like you're selling, you're more providing a solution, you're providing results. The minute you realize that honestly, you are providing something that's going to help that company or that individual, You can call it sales. The reason why people have a bad connotation of sales is two reasons. Number one, they don't like the way they've been sold to. And number two, they just don't want to do it. So,
Yeah.
so flat out, people say, can you help anybody? No, I can help anybody that wants to grow their business and is willing to learn the skills and strategies of sales. I can help them. We have the methodology. But if they don't want to do it, I'm not going to talk them into it. I don't want to walk into their training room with them kicking and screaming.
Yeah. Hmm. No, I love that. Just providing value to people and helping them realize that just because you've been sold to a certain way doesn't mean you have to sell that certain way.
Exactly.
And then my next question that kind of comes to my mind is, so going back to being in the trenches, and you're not necessarily handling objections, but you call a company up and they say, oh yeah, we definitely need some sales training, send us a proposal. I guess, do you already have a range of budgeting and pricing that you do, or they, what if they say,
That's
we don't?
another good question. I don't
Yeah.
send any pricing out until I take them through my interview, my core story. I don't
Mm.
just. I've had people call me up and go, "Hey, this is our budget. What do you charge for a 2-day event?" There is no way I'm going to answer that question. I
Oh,
never
wow.
money.
Mhm.
I never get out of my process. I don't care if it's an inbound call, an outbound call, a referral, a cold call. I have a process, which is contact, value proposition to core story. When I take them through my interview core story, which can be anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, based on their answers, will tell me what I need to know to send the right proposal. I am not a vending machine, you understand? And I'm
Mhm.
not a retail outlet. I sell consultatively.
So I haven't heard of this thing before. Core story. Tell us more about that. What that
Well,
looks like.
core story might be your version of the sales meeting. And the core story is 85% the client speaking, them talking, them answering questions, right? And I don't have the time to take you through the whole thing, but it's a
Yeah.
5-step process. Now,
Gotcha.
when I get through a 5-step process and I ask them, do you want a formal proposal? Then within 12 months, 91% of those people go to business.
Wow.
But if I would shortcut the process, if I would be price driven, that number would go way down.
Interesting. And so
Please
let's.
come to my sales boot camp. I'll teach you all this stuff.
No, I know. I'm loving
You'll be
all
a
this. Just
monster. You'll be a monster.
yeah, no, this is all so good and so exciting. And I know my audience. This is we have a very engaged audience right now, listening in and tuning in, which is awesome too. So tell us more about. And obviously, yeah, you don't have to answer these questions, but you're obviously a gold mine of knowledge, and so I can't help asking.
If I don't want to answer, I'll just say, that's something I teach for money.
No, it's all good. Okay, fair enough. So let's say a client goes, all right, Joe, we have a budget of 1,500 people. We need you to train. Or we have a budget of $1,500. We need you to train 15 people over the next 2 days. What can you do to make that happen, essentially?
I can't. I can't train 15 people in 2 days for $1,500. It's not going to happen. Okay. Here's the thing, and I'm not being proud. I'm not being boastful. Here's what we have to protect our brand.
Mhm.
Many times the client wants to dictate how long it's going to take you to get something done.
Mhm.
And they want to tell you, this is how much money I have to spend. Can you do it in this much time? The reason why the Rapport Mastery program, we do not spend money on advertising, has been ranked #1 in the world, is because it delivers results. I take that same program into a corporation. I can do that in 2 days, but it ain't going to be $1,500.
Yeah.
One deal usually so far exceeds the amount they're spending.
Yeah. Mhm.
But this is why I'm not a vending machine. I have people call me all the time. I've talked to this person, this person. They can do this for this and this. And I go, fantastic. Let me tell you what we do. And I take them into my process. Now, does everybody go with me? No. But here's what I know 100% of the time when we go in, we get results. I will let anybody vet us by calling all our clients. I just tell them, you go on LinkedIn, call any of our clients and say, did you get return on investment? right? People say, well, give us some references. I said, no, because I'll give you my best ones. Why don't you call anybody you want that's ever been in any of our stuff and say, did you get your money back? How long did it take you? Did you grow? Did you get a return on investment?
Hmm. And 100% of your clients are able to say yes, huh?
Well, and that's because, look, I chose not to do leadership training. I love leadership. I think there's some of the greatest leadership trainers in the world. Okay. It's hard to measure. You can measure what I do right now.
I love that. I love that. And obviously, as a coach myself, it's too bad that a lot of marketers don't know how to coach and a lot of coaches don't know how to market. And so, being able to quantify your success is a very big deal in the 21st century with information overwhelm, with a million coaches to choose from, million methods,
And
million
now
pieces
all
of
of a sudden,
advice.
they're going to get information from AI.
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, AI might out technology me, but they can't do what I can do in a training room.
Mm.
So what I do better be unique.
Yeah. No, I love that. And tell us more about the growth and scaling of your business. Have you had to outsource more? Have you just raised your prices? Tell us more
Yeah,
about that
and, you know,
process.
there's a couple things we've had to do. We built a mousetrap at first. We created some uniqueness that we knew would be unique in the marketplace because most sales trainers are great speakers, but they may not be doing their own selling, which is fine. That's great. But one of our uniquenesses is I do our selling, so I'm on the front line.
Hmm.
But what we found out a couple of years ago was, we can't scale, Joe Pici.
Yeah.
So we've done a couple things. We have a licensing program where people can use our content, not our name.
Hmm.
So if they want to use the Rapport Mastery system, we'll train them and do a train the trainer, but they do it under their own brand. All
Hmm.
right.
Okay.
Another thing, we're doing a lot of virtual stuff, which has helped us to scale. Another thing, our prices have gone up, helped us to scale. But then we opened up a second business. So business number one is Peachy and Peachy Inc. So that would be PICI.com. That's number one. But our second business is called sellmorevirtually.com. You go to that website, right? That's our scaling business because that is a web-based. There's master classes, there's videos, there's the Rapport Mastery Sales Training Program. 80% of what goes on in boot camp is now been pre-recorded that people can pay for and buy it. And also every Thursday night, I'm out there live doing a mastermind, a master class. That's a membership thing. That has scalability. So when you build a uniqueness, it's hard to scale. So you have to look at other ways to scale. Did I
Hmm.
answer your question?
Yes. So you said as far as scaling goes, you create a training system that people can go through and be able to use with their own branding, not with your name.
Right.
You create these online courses and ways people to learn that way. And then you started a new business of not just cold calling, but
No,
also,
no. The Peachy and Peachy methodology is the complete sales process. It's the speaker school. It's disc training. It's that, right? That's a
Mhm.
vertical. 90% of that is live. But
Mm.
we can also do it live virtual, right? As far as Zoom it. But Sell More Virtually is a membership platform that has interviews. In fact, you were on our podcast.
Yes.
The video portion of those podcasts are being put up on Sell More Virtually. That'll be there forever for people to see forever. So that's a second business that has scalability.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Let's talk about the disc training for a moment. There's a lot of sales books that talk about how you have to adjust your personality and your tone in order to talk with certain people.
Sure.
But I feel like just already talking to you, you're like, hey, as long as you bring the value, you don't have to adjust whether you're harsher or nicer or speak louder or
Well, I don't
softer.
mean to I don't mean to disagree, but I've been speaking to you the way you're speaking to me, which is very fast paced.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
do have to adjust
Mm-hmm.
because the basic behavior styles, and I don't believe in personality training. I believe in behavioral training because behaviors can change.
Mm-hmm.
Under stress, people are different. So we teach people how to read their behaviors and to adapt their communication for the other person, not to manipulate, for better communication. So what we've done is really kind of, because you cannot trademark disc. It was invented by the Greeks when they were running around the Parthenon with no clothes on. All right. That's the
Yeah.
truth. So it's not like a Myers-Briggs or an Animals. This is an open domain. But we took our version of disc and we adapted it to more behavioral based. So we teach them how to sell the behaviors, how to negotiate the behaviors, how to make phone calls based on behavior. Every aspect of sales or presentation, we teach them how to adapt to the audience or the other person.
That makes sense. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And then what about how much does poker skills apply to sales? How's your poker game?
I'm not a poker player. I believe in polite directness.
Polite directness.
You will never have to wonder what I'm saying. Now, if you were slow paced, people oriented, I might say it's something like, well, Andrew, you may want to consider. All right. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it. But I'm always clear and politely direct based on your behavior style. I don't confuse people.
Hmm. No, I love that. I love that. My next question is, being number one in the world is a very big deal by the global gurus. And a lot of people, when they get to the top, they cruise and they chill. They're like, okay, we've made it. But the fact you've done it 4 years in a row, and maybe it is because of your wife's medical situation, but are there other factors that keeps you getting up each day, wanting to stay hungry, stay after it? What does that look like for you?
First of all, never fall in love with the sound of your own voice and never believe your press.
Hmm.
Notoriety or applause or recognition is okay. It's great for marketing. As you know, you are a marketing genius.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, I have to perform every day. And I serve my clients. I believe you have to be hungry, humble, and persistent. All right. And
Hmm.
humble is a word you don't hear much because in the 21st century, you can disappear in a nanosecond.
Yep.
And we don't throw millions of dollars at advertising to try to get to those places. We just perform at a level where our whole focus is, do we deliver the value and the results to our clients? And then let them say what they want to say. So I'm more excited about that. One year I was the number one sales trainer in the world. What means more to us is that our system is ranked number one because systems can be used by anyone, but
Mm.
there's only one of you. And I look at some of the great celebrity speakers out there. There's only one of them. But in sales, if everybody in the room cannot do what you do, you're not training, you're entertaining.
Mm. I love that. No, that makes sense. So what keeps you motivated is understand you could be press is good and PR is good, but you can be gone in an instant. And the fact that yeah, it sounds like you've learned to master your passion. You know, a lot of people still need your help, they still need your support, and they need to grow their business. And until you step in, they're going to be stay stuck essentially.
Sure.
Oh, I love that. And when you closed that those big deals with Blue Cross, and what was the other big company you mentioned?
Well, we've closed a lot of big companies, but
Was there any moment in your business journey when you're like, oh, and obviously you're still hungry, you're still passionate, you still want to keep growing and scale and help more people, but was there any point after going from all this medical debt, not knowing what to do, getting 54 no's in a row? Was there any point in your business where you're like, okay, I think we've made it a little bit. I think we can be proud of ourselves a little bit.
there's a famous book that says pride cometh before the fall, and pride will kill you.
Hmm.
The most dangerous tool in the world is a microphone. So let's say that's a microphone. The minute you stand up in front of people, you are viewed as an expert.
Hmm.
That's good and bad. People say to me, are you ever nervous that when you walk into a training room, your system won't work. No, because it's not about Joe. It's about a system. I don't believe we've arrived. I don't believe you can ever sit down and say, I'm a somebody. That's just me. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, it's like uh, we work hard, we produce for our clients. We have a very high percentage of return clients, but they're only returning to me because we produce. That's it. I don't have a cult following. I'm not that guy. You know, uh, People stay with us because at the end of the day, their business grows. The minute I lose sight as to my role in their life, I mean, our business of speaking, training, coaching boot camp is really 85% the business part of it,
Mhm.
15% the actual presentation. So the people who come to that, these are people who already have information. They're already not afraid of a microphone. They want to learn how to monetize it. And I remember we had a guy came in, and one of the first things I said is how important it was to serve the client. And at the break, he says, well, I may not stay for the rest of this. He says, you mean I don't show up and people don't like pour my water and carry my books? And I just looked at him. I said, you can run your business anytime you want. You can do whatever you want. My perspective is I'll carry the client's books. I'll help the production people make sure they're set up right. I'll do whatever it is to make sure we have a great event so the client gets taken care of. He said, well, I don't like that. And I said, okay. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
It's like
Yeah.
everybody has to have their philosophy on why they do what they do.
No, that makes sense. And what percentage of your clients would you say are returning clients? Like if you had a
We
hundred.
haven't been fired, okay? Now they may, because of what I do, they may not need me again right away. I mean, I just had a
Mhm.
call last night, uh, and I've been working with a client for a couple of years, and finished the project with him about 3 months ago. And I stayed in touch with him. He called me 7:30 last night, and he goes, "Hey, I'm really sorry, man. I haven't returned your calls. Some things have happened here. I've moved into a higher level position. How many seats do you have left in that boot camp? I'd like to send 5 people."
Wow.
Right. And so 3 months ago, it may have looked like they were done. Well, they weren't done, but because I don't give people ultimatums, I keep the
Mm.
door open.
Well, if you don't mind sharing, let's say you're currently working with 100 clients, would you say about 25 of them are returning clients or 40, 50?
I would say depends on when they need me. In other words, most people I work with stay in our life. They
Mm.
may not get on our coaching program right away, okay? But they may, when they need the coaching, they'll start working with us again. All right. I don't believe in long-term contracts with people
Yeah.
because it just makes people feel like they're indentured. So I can't think offhand that we lost that client. Now, what I am seeing is companies going out of business. So
Mm.
now that number, if you want to look at companies, the percentage of companies that closed the tent, and you lost that client, well, they just don't exist anymore.
Mm. No, that makes sense. Okay. Um, and going back to, the success you've had with your growth and all that, is there any like, besides paying for medical bills, is there any like big vacations you've been able to take or any big purchases you've been able to do because of
Well,
your hard work
again,
paying off?
again, because of what's happening, because I'll just say this, we've opted to use holistic treatment versus regular medical only
Oh,
because it works for our family.
oh yeah.
It's all cash. So
Oh,
we probably could have been on 20 vacations. Instead, we've opted to do that.
that makes sense.
All
Yes.
right. And so, everybody has stuff.
Of course. Yes.
But I can tell you this, our business has provided our ability to make that choice.
Mm,
And so many people don't have that choice. Our business has provided me the ability to say to my wife, this year, you just get well and rest and don't worry about it.
for a full year, you say at the beginning of the year?
Yep. I said, don't
Wow.
worry about it. I said, at the end of the year, if you're still doing great, great. I said, don't worry about it. There's no pressure on you. Now, it's not a bragging statement. I don't drive a Mercedes. Why? It doesn't have value for me.
Yeah.
What has value for me is being able to provide a life for my family and have the money. If we decide we need something, we can do it. That's all.
No, I love that. No, I bet that's a good feeling, and you're debt free and all the above, right?
Well, again, we're not real materialistic people. It's just not important to us.
No, it makes sense. All right, I have a few more questions here.
Before we go to the question, can I give away a gift while I'm thinking
Oh,
about
please do. Yes, yeah,
it?
go
I've
for
got
it.
a great free webinar. Now, is this an international podcast or is it mostly national?
It's mostly national, but we
Good.
do have some people tuning in international too.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, let's do this. For anybody in the United States, take out your cell phone and go to your text area. And the message you want to write the word sales edge. SALESEDGE. Some phones will break it up. You want to put quotes around it or just make sure it stays one word. Text it to 55678. Sales edge to 55678. It's going to take you to a Peachy and Peachy link. Hit the link, it'll take you to a splash page. You can just put an email in there and you will get a free webinar. It's a masterclass on the 8 essentials of sales success, free to you. Okay, enjoy it. Now, also, send me a LinkedIn invite, Joe Pici. I'm the same guy, look like this. I'm pointing at you. Also, if any of you ever want to have a complimentary cup of Joe, give me a call at 407 947 2590. I don't know when this is going to air. We have a handful of seats left in our sales boot camp and our speaker boot camp. We'll sell out right away. If that's something you want to talk about, just give me a call. I don't use a hard close, and you'll get some free tips from me. So now I can go to your next question.
No, that's a great plug because I know I've gotten so much value from this interview, and I know people listening in. We're getting a lot of likes, a lot of engagements. So this is definitely a lot of fun, and so definitely make sure to text Joe, visit his website, check out his webinar, and obviously get some help from him because I know I'm definitely going to be using him very soon for sure. So the next question is, how do you make sure to surround yourself with the right people to help make sure you're successful and holding yourself accountable and constantly growing?
Association is one of the pillars of success. I mean, I'm not better than anyone, but I'm going to tell you this. I'm not going to be around energy drainers. I don't do any life coaching. I mean, I remember Andrew in the beginning said, I might ask you some personal questions. I said, don't. I'm not a life coach. I can't be effective to you getting into your personal issues and your business. So therefore, we do have good friends. That's not the point. But when we choose to be around people, these are people that are uplifting. Association is so vital. I don't like people that make excuses. I don't mean I don't like them. I just cannot tolerate excuses. Okay. And so I would recommend to each and every one of you that to be successful, guard your mind. It's what you listen to, the podcast you listen to, what you read, who you spend your time with will dictate 80% of your success.
No, I love that. I love that. Guarding your mind. And I know there's a great YouTube video. Dr. Keto, I think is how you say his name, where he was like, most people think, oh, it's garbage in, garbage out. But what you don't realize is that garbage in, garbage stays there. And so,
And
yeah,
he's
not,
exactly right. It does
yes.
stay there.
Yeah. So just like being very mindful, very protective of it. That makes a lot of sense. Um, what do you think are the non-negotiable actions and or mindsets as an entrepreneur to be successful?
Oh, I have some non-negotiables. Boy, do I have them. In sales, non-negotiables are this. Every day you better generate leads. Every day you better make outreach. X amount of calls. However you, every week you better have X amount of core stories or sales meetings. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those are vital. You must return every phone call. I return every phone call same day.
Wow. Mhm.
Same day. Now, if it's late at night, it'll be next day. There'll never be 24 hours that you don't get a return phone call. You know how many contracts I've closed because I'm the only people that call them back? And I will not refer people that don't call me back because
Mm.
how am I going to trust you with a client if you won't call me back? And so there's non-negotiables and so here's how you get your non-negotiables. You figure out, and if you can't do this, you get a coach and they'll help you. What are the things that it's going to take to grow my business? And then don't negotiate with those things and be consistent.
I love that. Doing outreaches, booking sales meetings, and calling people back. That makes a lot of sense. And and what gets you when you wake up each day? Like, what do you think about that gets you fired up to seize the day and serve more people? Is there anything that comes to your mind besides, of course, helping your wife and building your business?
Well, I have a faith. I start my day with my faith. Okay. That starts my day. It centers me, that gets me going. And then it's time to go, man. Then it's it's I heard a story one time. Every day a gazelle gets up and starts running and a lion is chasing it, you know. And either way, you got to keep running, whether you're running for your food or running to be not to be eaten. I mean, I think we're delusional to believe. I've seen people my age that were retired that have come out of retirement. You know, retirement, is certain people can do it, but nowadays it's taking more years to secure more things, and look at what can happen with losing investments, whatever. And so you have to stay on the edge, the razor's edge. But I will say this, I love what I do. If I didn't like what I do, I wouldn't get up early in the morning and do it. So whatever you're going to do for a living, you better love it because you're going to do a lot of it.
No, it makes sense. No, that's such sage advice. Well, the last two questions we have, Joe, how can people best contact you and get a hold of you? Any other ways besides the phone number?
First, the best way is to call me. All
Oh,
right,
excellent.
really. Just
Yes. Mhm.
407-947-2590. Send me a contact to my email is joe@piciandpici.com. You can go through LinkedIn. Okay. I would just recommend if you have a question, here's what you should know about me. I'm not going to flip it and turn into some hard closing. No, you want to pick up the phone and go, Joe, I'd like to talk to you about this. I'll have a consultation with you. It won't cost you any money for a consultation, but reach out to me because I know I can help you. I can help you gain an unfair advantage over your competition. I can help you get in front of your target market. I can help you negotiate higher fees. I can help you get return phone calls. I have people come from all over the country to learn how to navigate the gatekeeper and get return phone calls. And we have a system for that.
I love that. I love that. And then the final question for today, what's one takeaway you want someone to have from listening to this interview?
I would say the one thing I would recommend all you do is find the prize that you're running for, then find the price and then
Mm,
pay it because everybody's going to pay a price. The price you pay better be worth the prize.
I love that. That's so well said. Gosh, that needs to be put on a billboard in every city for sure. Well, this has been so much fun. Thank you again for coming on today, Joe. Definitely check out Joe's contact on email and LinkedIn. Give him a phone call. Check out his training is at sellmorevirtually.com, and get a chance to go to peachyandpeachy.com and connect more with him. And with that said, we'll see you all next week or next time for the next episode of Rapid Results with Andrew Weiss. So see you later, everyone.
Bye.